Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and just when I think I'm done with this guy, this of course is God Ginrai from, well, a mix of Titans Return and the Legends line, a mix of Japanese toy tooling and, well, Japanese that got released in North America toy tooling. But just when I think I'm done with this guy, I'm not, because I upgraded him with PC-16, which kind of gives the cab version of the robot for this character, if you are familiar with the Japanese iteration of him anyway. And then, while I didn't expect it, I found a real exceptional deal that gave me his little tiny Powermaster partner inside of his chest, and of course now he can, hold on, he can do that. I don't even know if you can see that they're lit up, but he has LED eyes now. I think that's glorious. What am I talking about? What is the latest piece that I've added to this guy? Well, it's this. The Perfect Effect PC-15 Upgrade Kit, and it's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey you, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here today. I am your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course subscribe, man. Stick around the channel, check it out, see what it is that catches your interest. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. And this is PC-15. I did not intend to get this. It's been a long story with technically Powermaster Optimus Prime. That's kind of where it started, with Titans Return Powermaster Optimus Prime, and went right through the Japanese release to that getting released in North America as Magnus Prime in a box set, then to finding an exceptional deal on LG42, then saying, that's great, I have the Super Ginrai mode and I have the God Ginrai mode, but I don't have the little cab mode, and I found the PC-16 and added that, and I said then that I didn't think this was particularly needed, and it's not, but if you can find the right deal for this set, it's definitely worth adding. Why? Well, it does give you the thigh fillers, which is kind of neither here nor there. The head that comes with it, well, it's nice that it has the LEDs and lights up, but its functionality is a little bit better than the stock head, though you can use the stock head. This one does function a bit better, but the real star of the show is the little itty-bitty Powermaster, because let's call him what he is. He's a Powermaster that turns into an engine block, basically. And I really didn't know what to think of this guy until I got him in hand. Now I'm going to try my best to show you everything with this little guy, but I'm not going to lie, it's challenging because he is so small. So, you know what, bear with me a little bit there, but we'll get through it all. In fact, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. So do you remember the last time that we looked at this guy? Because I kind of don't right now. You see, we've looked at him, so to speak, several times. And every time I think I'm finished, I get pulled right back in. Well, enter Perfect Effect with its add-on kits. And the first add-on that I got was PC-16 Jinrai Prime. And I looked at that in episode 456 a while ago. It gives you the cab robot. It's a nice figure in and of itself. It also gave you this very Optimus Prime-esque looking blaster up here that I just happened to stick in there because, hey, why not? But that's not the end. That's not the end, because it still wasn't quite perfect. And so you get what we're about to look at today, and of course that is PC-15. So what does that give you, and how does it end up fitting in with this monstrosity? Well, let's start from the very smallest and work our way up. Actually, what we're really going to begin with is the box. And we have a box. It's a box. And we see the little kind of Powermaster of Ginrai down there, or Haikyuu if you are a North American fan. And we have, looming up here, we have Super Ginrai. And he has a brand new head sculpt. On the back of the box, we can see that he comes with a new head that has LED lights in it. He comes with thigh fillers for the Super Ginrai robot, and of course he comes with the little Powermaster robot down there. I'll say this as well. The head with the LEDs came with the requisite batteries. Now, if I'm being fair, I want to get kind of the leg filler pieces out of the way first, because they're almost like I didn't really care if we got them or not. I don't have a problem with kind of hollowness, to be honest with you. I don't usually even notice it. I know a lot of people do. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. Sometimes it's even there for structural reasons for stability and whatnot, believe it or not. But nevertheless, we do have the pieces here, and they're pretty easy to put on. One of them is on. The one over on the left leg is already attached, and you can see the difference it makes. It just fills it in. Over here, we just come here. We take the little thigh filler piece. It is colored the same as this guy. Some people have asked, can you use this with the Powermaster Optimus Prime, the North American release? You can, but the gray is different, so his inner thighs would be a different shade. If that doesn't bother you, hey, go for it. But that likes to fall out. We're going to talk about that as well, because I know right now what a lot of people are going to ask. Hey, are you going to get PC-18? We'll talk about that toward the end. But nevertheless, there you go. The thighs now just have that piece. It just slots into place, and now he has complete legs, I suppose? Okay, so this is a little challenging to show. On this side we have the stock head, and we have the little Titan Master inside. On this side we have the upgraded head from the PC-15 set. The blue is a darker blue on the PC-15 set, and as I mentioned, we have, pressing a button on the back, we have LED lights for his eyes if you are so inclined. But generally, they are comparable. I mean, which one do you like better? That's up to you. But the one from the upgrade kit does fit into the cab of PC-16 correctly. The stock one does not. As well, when the stock one is slotted into place, the head is unable to turn in the large combined robot mode, as where the PC upgraded head can turn. Why? What's the real difference that causes the problem? Why does the upgraded one fit better? Well, if we look at them side on, we see this. Boy, oh boy, is this challenging. We see that the upgraded head is basically the kind of shape and mold of the front of the head of the official release, the one that holds the Titan Master. In order to have the stock head fit properly, you would need to knock out this pin in the back, you would need to remove this section as well as the connector along the bottom. The problem is, all you're left with then is the kind of fold over part of the helmet, and there would be no way to attach it. Now, you can use the stock head just fine. It will look fine in display. The head won't be able to move. Like if you want to look to the left, you have to take the head out, you have to turn it to the left and slot it back into place. I'll show that in a little bit. It also cannot store properly, like I said, in the kind of cab truck mode. I showed that when I looked at the PC-16 set in full, but there's the comparison of the two. Overall point to take away here is that the upgraded head has LEDs, it is a little bit smaller, and it is a deeper, darker shade of blue. And believe it or not, the real star of the show here is this teeny tiny little guy. This is technically, it's supposed to represent a human inside of a little robotic suit that becomes the engine block of the cab of a transport that can combine with its own trailer to become an even bigger robot that can combine with yet a second trailer to become a gigantic robot. All of which is technically controlled by this little itty bitty guy. This, of course, is Ginrai. It's like the base beginning form of him, and it is really, really small, like really tiny. Now, in terms of accuracy, 10. It looks like the suit. If you know the Headmaster series, if you know what, G1 Ginrai, even what High-Q look like, this is a 10, this is accurate. Just how small is he? Well, here he is with a Siege Battlemaster, that being Blowpipe, and Blowpipe is, about twice the size of this guy, so there's that. And then here he is next to a Titan Master, actually, a Prime Master, Solus Prime, actually, the exclusive Solus Prime, actually. And you can see he's about the same size as the Titan Master. The arms on him are about the same as the arms on a Titan Master or a Prime Master. They can barely move out, but they can go forward. He has hips that can move forward and get him into a seated position. He also has knees. His two legs are not connected to each other like a Titan Master is. Otherwise, they're fairly similar in articulation. Taking solace out of it, let's get into the articulation a little bit if we can. I'm going to try and show this. On the back, by the way, we just have like a screw in the engine block. So the head, I don't think the head does anything. The arms are on little tiny ball joints. They can go forward. Not much out to the side at all. Let's get these up kind of over his head so we can deal with the legs a bit better. Now the legs are interesting actually. We can do full splits. That's the first thing to note. Full splits. So that's impressive, but that's really to help facilitate the conversion. The legs cannot really go back at all. They can go forward. Now you'll notice there's a white section here. What we have is a peg gone into a white section here. I'll show that again like shortly. That whole piece folds forward. We have the knee is on a ball joint, and that gets us a 90-degree knee bend. It also technically gets us a swivel because of the ball joint, like we kind of get a swivel. Now, you can get them in a seated position. When you get them in a seated position, what you're doing is you're folding those two little tiny white pieces forward, and you can see how small the pegs are that are in there. I feel like it's delicate, man. Real delicate. And this is actually like part of the conversion. Like you can get in a seated position here, no problem. So truth is, for how small it is, articulation, I'm gonna say it's an 8 because the arms could be better, and the plastic, I'm like, I wish it felt a little thicker. I understand why it's not. I understand why this guy's so tiny, but I do wish it felt a little thicker. Boy, is this hard to try and show here. Okay, so what we're doing, see if I can do this again. See if I can do this better. What we're doing is we bring that white section forward, we spin out the entire leg on the red peg, and then we're gonna flip up the black piece. That's from his knee down to his foot, and there's a little tab like on the shoulder and a little notch on the leg, and when you fold that up, you should be able to tab the shoulder into the notch on the leg. And in essence now what you have is an engine. And that brings us back to this guy. Now the last time we saw him, he looked like this, and I'm kind of really glad that I had an excuse here to sort of break him out and show him to you again, because pretty soon we're going to be looking at, well, a version of PC-17, which is the white version of this. We're going to be looking at that soon, but it's not exactly what you might think it to be. More about that when the time comes. I'll just kind of let that tease dangle there just a little bit. Now, how does this guy interact here? Well, it's pretty simple. At this point, we turn him around and we open this out. Now, you can, of course, just leave this whole grill here just fine, but you can turn it around. And when you turn it around, now you have this open red space here. And that open red space is exactly where you implant this little guy, and he just squeezes in there, and you close that up, and you close, oh, and he likes to fall out a little bit sometimes until you really get him sort of solidified in place there, and it just like solidifies in the back there, no problem, and it holds there all right. Like, he's okay, he's fairly solid. And for the record, if you're wondering how it looked in vehicle mode, well, there you go. I mean, he's fit in there just fine. It looks like it would have been G1. I mean, I remember having my Powermaster Optimus Prime and putting high Q in place, and this is what it looked like. I'm sure the people that had Super Ginrai and put the small little GotMaster Ginrai in place, this is how it looked. It's fine. This is accurate. I like it. I absolutely dig it. Now, while we've got him this way, let's also talk about the changing of the guard when it comes to the head, so to speak. In here now we have the stock head. And it looks alright, but it cannot move left or right. It's not possible. So if I want it to look left or right, I would have to like wiggle the head back out of the connector piece. And I would physically have to like turn it and slot it back into place. If you can. It's tight. Similarly, when you want to store it, like the only way for you to really store it, hold on, you go like that, and the only way for you to really store it is like on the side, disconnected. You can do it, it's fine, but it's not quite right. So, that being said, we can take that out of it. Take the whole thing out of it now, because we do have a proper upgraded head. And now we can take this head, and it will simply slide into place. And as long as it's slid into place, it can look left, it can look right, and it can fold down straight and allow you to close up the two sides of the vehicle mode. It fits. And push that piece down. And when you want to convert him to go combined, you open that up, you open that up, you bring this up, and you close these back in, and the head can look left and right. And of course you can attach it so that it looks like this. And now we have something that looks like this. Now, when I looked at the PC-16, I noted that that set came with two alternate chest plates that look like this. And I used this one because we had the engine kind of block in there. And we just had a flat section before where we now have the smallest version of Jinrai put. And this was supposed to mimic that same look. So now we're going to take that piece off. It will go aside, and now we're going to use this piece because we have an opening here. This opening is what our little robot friend there will be able to fit into. It just slots into place, no problem, down on the kind of tummy section there. In, and locks in place. Like that, and it looks, yeah, this looks right, man. This looks good. Now, of course, you could take the rest of LG42 and put over the top, but you get the idea of how this looks. Now, the last thing, the very last thing to note here is that the head can go left and right. However, I do find that it likes to push down. Like, I wish the flap that it's on had a locking point or something, because though I can move it left and right, it does like to look down. It looks... Even if I put the red flap all the way back and got this up as high as it can go, it still wants to push down. Not a big deal, but like I wish there had been a way for something to kind of lock in a little bit there. And I do find the rotation is a bit loose. I kind of wish the mushroom peg was toleranced just a little bit more snugly than what it is. And so finally here we are back in the biggest form, and we said that the paint apps were a 10. The articulation, it's probably a 5, I guess, maybe. I mean, it's a little bit better than a Titan Master, but not much. It could have been better if the arms were better and if I felt like the plastic was more durable. I'm a bit nervous. I wouldn't move him too much. And the conversion... He's pretty easy, kind of a genius for as small as he is. I'm going to say 10 for that. Overall, is he good? Yeah, he's great. I wasn't planning on getting it, but I found really an exceptional deal. I would not pay regular price for the PC-15 set. I wouldn't, because it's not worth it. You don't get a whole lot. But if you can find it for the right deal, a good deal, it's definitely something worth getting and kind of helping to bulk this guy up. Now, that being said, am I going to get PC-18? I'm not particularly planning on it. Yes, the sword on that is better. I don't tend to use the sword a whole lot anyway. The wing extension pieces, I don't want those because they add more weight and kind of doesn't really help his stability a whole lot. Especially if we are just looking at LG42 in his robot mode. In that case, the wings that kind of stick out from the back, obnoxiously already tend to kind of fall down. Now, I know what everybody's going to say. What about the leg stabilizers that also become forearms? Yeah, I suppose it would be nice to have those, but honestly, like, I don't have any issue with stability of this guy. When I plug the feet pieces in, I just bring the toes down a little bit, and on the back, the red section I have outside of the kind of wraparound of his leg. Like, let's see if I can just show that here. Like, I have those outside, and I find that that holds just fine anyway. Do I like PC-15? Yes. Do I think it's as necessary as PC-16? No. And here we are once again, and I know, a lot of people would say, hey, if you've gone in this far, you might as well get PC-18. If I found the right deal, I might, but I'm not really in for it. The fillers, I suppose, are okay. I don't really think they're that necessary. I kind of don't care about the sword. I don't want the wing extensions because they add so much weight that they're not really helping the functionality. They look good in the big super God Ginrai mode, but that's really the only place that they look any good. That being said, if you want kind of, I'll say an official version, because there are some great third-party options for this character out there, but if you kind of want like an official version of, whether you call him Powermaster Optimus Prime with Apex armor, or whether you call him God Ginrai, if you want kind of from the smallest robot up to the cab robot, up to the cab and trailer robot, up to the cab and two trailer robot, then it's obtainable. You can certainly get LG42 and say Magnus Prime, or you could get Super Ginrai and LG42, or you could just get the EX, the like box set one. I think that was a little pricier, but you could get that as your base point. PC-16, I think, is a great set. Definitely worth getting. PC-15 is nice to add on. It's not as necessary. If you're not a perfectionist, then you don't need this. I'm a perfectionist. I wanted that character in all of the proper iterations that he comes in. So for me, yeah, it's nice. It's kind of worth it. But when you get it, the box isn't big. And when you open it inside, you have a clamshell that has two little batteries. The batteries included are nice. The little engine block dude. The head, and I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I'm missing anything. Oh, and the two thigh filler things. If I guess waffles in the thighs bother you, then great. Sometimes they're structurally there for a reason, but in this case, fine. I filled them in, no big deal. The LED head is nice. It's nice that the head can move, even if it moves a little easier than I like it to. The little figure, I'm so glad to have it. It's great. He is very small, as you saw, compared to a Prime Master. He does have more articulation than a Prime Master, but the plastic does feel more delicate. I would be careful moving him. Make your movements very deliberate. This is definitely for a collector, not a kid. But, like, I'm glad to have it, but I don't overpay for this. Don't. Get it on a good deal. Do not overpay for it. Anyway, let me know if you've got this set, or let me know if you've got any of the parts that make up God Ginrai, and kind of what is acceptable to you as a version of that character. Obviously, we know there's a lot of third-party options. What works for you best? I'd love to hear from you guys. Again, thanks for dropping by, giving me some of your very valuable time. Please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so very much, and I look forward to the next time, and there's a lot to come, that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.